Rightio, today we got the twin cab Isuzu NNR 3 litre turbo work truck in for an oil change. Bit different from the usual stuff, and it has the same engine as the Isuzu D-Max, but it uses a cartridge filter which spices it up a bit, but nevertheless we get it done. First up, crawl under the left hand side and you'll see where I am right here with a 17mm spanner, I think, is a sump plug. First I'll crack it off, and I'll get the drain pan, put it undo the plug, and leave it to drain all the oil out. Then I put the plug back in just by hand so that it doesn't leak anymore. Then I'll remove the drain pan and tighten it back down with the spanner so that way it's in tight. Next up we go to the right hand side. Over to this section here we got the cartridge oil filter. Nothing to be too scared of here. First up, it has a drain plug that later on you will see I should have left draining for longer. First up, just crack that loose with a drain pan underneath and let all the oil drain out of the filter. I cut it a bit short, but you should let it go, let it drain out real well, then put it back in by hand. Then crack the bigger hex, which is what's holding on the bolt that clamps the bowl to the engine. Once you pull that out, I make a fair mess because I didn't drain it enough. Then I drain the remainder into the pan and then pull it all out. Here I just put it on this pin that the pan has on it, and then I can push the bowl down and pull the pin right out the back, and the filter just comes right out and chills out on the pan. Just a quick demo of how it works. Basically that bolt threads into the engine. It goes through the bowl right there with the filter inside, and you thread it in and it clamps it to it. Here's me brake cleaning it all down so it's all clean, speck free, no oil, no grit, ready to go back. Same goes for the bowl. Here's the oil filter that I'm going to be using. Inside it also comes with 3 O-rings that we will be replacing, as you should. First up, the big one. Pick this out of the top of the bowl with a screwdriver or a seal pick. You should use a seal pick, I didn't have one. Then you just lube up the new one with some old engine oil or rubber grease, fit it back in. My bowl's a bit oily still, so I could kind of just reuse that. And then just make sure you chase it all in like that, and she's sweet. Here I'm just removing that plug that we put in hand tight earlier. Now remove the O-ring from that bolt that mounts the bowl. Once it's off, you just slip the new one on. And rinse and repeat with the plug. Then I put the plug hand tight back on the bolt. Just got to remember when we put it back on the engine that plug must be tightened down. Now slip the bolt through the bowl and grab the new filter, slide it over through, and it's ready to go on. Just make sure that the threads of the bolt do protrude and that you have the filter running straight through. Also, you can't put the filter in upside down, which is great. Now to fit it up there, back in the engine. Tighten it down and get some decent clampage. Then, because I made a massive mess, get in there with the brake cleaner, and next time I'll have to remember to let it drain for a bit longer. When I do the oil change, of course I inspect over the whole vehicle and check all the suspension and brakes and whatever else. But I'm also just quickly going to show you how I change the air cleaner. Just pop the cap off like that with the 4 clips, give it a tap to get all the dust out. Then wriggle the old air cleaner out and toss it over your shoulder. Here we got the brand newie. Remove it from the box, make sure it looks about right. Then you get your box, throw it over your shoulder also. Then you just want to fit it in nice and even and then wriggle it around. You can put some rubber grease on the sealing surface to give you a hand if it gives you a bit of trouble. Once it's all pushed in real firm, put the cover on. And if you do have trouble putting the cover on, sometimes it's because the filter isn't pushed in all the way. Now to bust open the passenger side and check out these two clips that hold the engine bay access from under the seats in. Basically you want to pull on both of them, and the one on the left side seems to get jammed, so I rip it up. Then it pops up and you got to hop up over here, and there's this strap that hangs down on the back. You can undo that and then hitch it on to one of the clips like I do here. Then I pop the filler off. Pull the dipstick out and just clean the old oil off it, just something I like to do. Put it back and start filling it up. .20 litre drum fits nice right here, and I just run it in and start pumping away. Once I'm happy with it, I check the dipstick. I give it a wipe and then put it back in and then check. And here you can see it is pretty much on the dot, but once you start it up, it will lower because the oil filter's been changed. So you should run it for about a minute, then turn it off, let it settle for 5, then check again and top up as necessary. And if you're extra keen, then you can fire it up again and double check. Before you fire it up at all though, make sure you put that oil filler cap on like this. And other than that, that's it. That's how it's done. Thanks for watching.